Hello students, I am Manoj Kundare, the Assistant Professor of Electronic Science. Welcome back to our e-learning platform. In previous video, we were studied the data transmission and its types. The link of the previous video is available in the description box. Please check it. Now let's see a short summary about the previous video. In that video, we were studied the types of the data transmission, parallel transmission and serial transmission. Let's see a short summary of the types of the data transmission. The first one is the parallel data transmission. In this type of transmission, the sending device, that means the transmitter, transmits its data towards the receiver through multiple data lines or through multiple wires. In parallel data transmission, an n bit data requires n number of wires. Hence, due to this reason, this type of transmission is not possible in long distance communication. It is widely used in the short distance communication, like a communication between a computer to its printer. The second type of data transmission is the serial data transmission. In this type of transmission, the transmitter transmits the data towards the receiver on a single line or on a single wire. The data can be sent on this line by 1 bit by 1 bit. Okay, this is the actual diagram of the serial data transmission, in which the transmitter is computer, also the receiver is computer. We know that in computer the parallel data transmission is occurs. Hence, in transmitter the data available in parallel mode. To transmit this parallel data into a serial line, we need a parallel to serial converter at transmitting end. After conversion of parallel data into serial one, the data is transmitted through a single line towards the receiver. But the receiver is also a computer and which works on the parallel data. Hence, there is again need to convert the serial data into parallel one. Hence, at the receiving end, we require serial to parallel data converter. In this manner, the serial data transmission is occurs. There are two types of serial data transmission. First one is asynchronous data transmission and second one is synchronous data transmission. Let's see what is meant by asynchronous data transmission. Here the asynchronous word denotes that there is no synchronization required between the transmitter and the receiver. The data bytes are placed within the two bits, start bit and stop bit. The start bit is always 0 and the stop bit is always 1. There is a certain gap between two data bytes. It is not necessary that this time interval is equal. They may be different from each other. I hope you understand what is meant by asynchronous data transmission. Let's see the synchronous data transmission. Here the synchronous word denotes that there is a synchronization required between transmitter and receiver, and there is no need of use start and stop bits. The data is placed in a frame and transmit on a single line or wire. Here is one important thing is that in this type of transmission there is no gap between the two data bytes. Okay, now let's see our today's topic, concepts of the communication system. Our first concept or the first term is the bandwidth. Let's see what is meant by bandwidth. The definition of the bandwidth says the portion of the electromagnetic spectrum occupied by a signal is called as bandwidth. It is also defined as the frequency range over which an information signal is transmitted. Generally, the bandwidth is the difference between the upper and lower frequency limits of the signal. This is the very important statement here, that the bandwidth is the difference between the upper and lower frequency limits of the signal. Let's see this statement on an example. Let's see the example of our voice signals. We know that our voice signal ranges from 300 Hz to 3400 Hz. The upper limit is 3400 Hz and the lower limit is 300 Hz. Hence, we can calculate the bandwidth of the voice frequencies as the 3400 minus 300 is equal to, the subtraction gives us a number 3100. That means the bandwidth of the voice signal is 3100. I hope you all now understand how to calculate the bandwidth of a signal. Now let's see what is meant by the word bandwidth. What is meant by the word bandwidth? Let's see the example again here. The example of voice signal. Voice signal which is ranges from 300 Hz to 3400 Hz. The human voice may ranges between these two frequencies, that is, a normal human cannot speak below the frequency 300 Hz and cannot speak above the frequency 3400 Hz. That means our human speech lies between 300 Hz to 3400 Hz. This is in this range there are number of frequencies present. Hence, this total frequency or this total area is called as a band, and this is the width of the band. Hence, it is named as the bandwidth of a signal. I hope you all understand the basic concept of the word bandwidth. Let's see their signal bandwidth and the channel bandwidth. First of all, let's see what is meant by signal bandwidth. The word denotes that this is the bandwidth of a signal. The signal bandwidth means the bandwidth of a signal. Let's see the actual definition of this term. The bandwidth is the electromagnetic spectrum occupied by a signal. We already know different types of baseband signals such as voice signal, music signal, TV signals, etc. Each of these signals will have its own frequency range. This frequency range of a signal is known as the bandwidth. Let's see one example here. For example, the range of the music signal is 20 Hz to 15 kHz. Here is the upper frequency F2 is 15 kHz and the lower frequency F1 is 20 kHz. 20 Hz. As we learned previously that bandwidth is the difference between upper frequency and the lower frequency. Here is, this is the upper frequency and this is the lower frequency. The difference between upper and lower frequency gives us the bandwidth. Hence, there is a subtraction between 15 kilohertz means 15,000 minus this 20 hertz. We get a number 14,980 hertz. Hence, 14,980 hertz is the bandwidth of a music signal. I hope you all understand how to calculate the bandwidth of any signal. Here are some different signals are given whose bandwidth are calculated. First one is voice signal or speech for telephony. It ranges from 300 to 3400. The bandwidth is 3100. This is already done previously, that the upper frequency is 3400 minus the lower frequency is 300. This subtraction gives us a number 3100. Hence, this is the bandwidth of the voice signal. Similarly, the bandwidth of the music signal is 14,980. The bandwidth of the TV signal is, or the picture is, the TV signal or the picture ranges from 0 to 5 megahertz. This subtraction gives us 5 megahertz minus 0 is equal to 5 megahertz. Hence, the bandwidth of the TV signal is 5 megahertz. Similarly, the bandwidth of the digital data is calculated. Now, let's see the channel bandwidth. Here is the channel bandwidth. Word denotes that this is the bandwidth of the channel. Then what is meant by channel or how it is formed? Let's see in the later description. But here is the definition of the bandwidth is given, that we know that the range of frequencies that contains information is called as bandwidth. But the term channel bandwidth is used to describe the range of frequencies required to transmit the desired information. Here is a required word is used which differentiate the channel bandwidth from the signal bandwidth. Let's see once again the definition of the channel bandwidth. The channel bandwidth is used to describe the range of frequencies required to transmit the desired information. When the information signal is superimposed on the carrier signal, the resulting modulated signal occupies a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum surrounding the carrier frequency. This is the modulation process. I hope you all know what is meant by modulation. It is very simple that if we want to transmit our voice signal through a far distance or on a long distance, then practically it is not possible to transmit our voice as it is. Hence, there is need to place our voice signal on a carrier. This carrier is transmitted and our voice is placed on that carrier. This process is known as the modulation. The technical definition of the modulation says that the modulation is the process in which some characteristics of the high frequency signal, that means some characteristics of the carrier, that means the characteristics such as amplitude, frequency or phase, is changes in accordance with the instantaneous value of the original signal or the baseband signal. In other words, we can also define the modulation is that the modulation is the process in which the some properties of the carrier, the properties are like phase, frequency or amplitude, are changes in accordance with the original signal. This process is known as the modulation process. In modulation process, the sidebands are generated at frequencies above and below the carrier frequency. Let's see what is meant by the modulation process on the example. Let's see the example of amplitude modulation. The definition of the amplitude modulation says that here is we learn that or we know that the modulation is the process in which the properties of the carrier, here is the property used amplitude. Hence, in this definition we can also say that in amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier changes in accordance with the instantaneous value of the original signal. Then the process is called as amplitude modulation. Here is the process of amplitude modulation is shown, in which this is the original signal or signal wave, this is the carrier wave, and this is the amplitude modulated wave. We know that the carrier wave have a very high frequency while the original signal has the very low frequency. What happens in the modulation process, that the properties of the carrier, here is the property used amplitude, hence the amplitude of this carrier is altered with the baseband signal or the original signal. That means this signal, let's see once again, that means this signal is altered with this original signal, and we get a new modulated wave such like that. In that wave, here are the two sidebands are generated. The two sidebands are generated. This is called as the amplitude modulation. Similarly, we can also define the frequency modulation and the phase modulation. Let's see the example of the channel bandwidth. For example, in amplitude modulation, the maximum modulating frequency is 5 kHz. If the carrier frequency is 700 kHz, the sidebands will be produced as 700 minus 5 and 700 plus 5. 700 minus 5 gives us 695 kHz, and 700 plus 5 gives us 705 kHz. We know that the bandwidth is the difference between upper and lower frequency. This is the upper frequency and this is the lower frequency. Hence 705 minus 695 gives us the answer 10 kHz. Hence in amplitude modulation the bandwidth is 10 kHz. I hope you all understand how to calculate the channel bandwidth. Let's see some other points of the channel bandwidth. The electromagnetic spectrum is finite. That means our electromagnetic spectrum is our natural resource and which is limited in nature. Only limited number of signals can be transmitted in the frequency spectrum. Because signals transmitted on the same frequency or overlapping frequency will interfere with each other. Therefore, it is necessary to minimize the bandwidth of the required to transmit the given information so that more number of channels can be accommodated in the frequency spectrum. That means let's see this description on an example. Consider this is our electromagnetic spectrum and this is the range of our electromagnetic spectrum. If we use a large bandwidth signal, then only limited number of signals can be transmitted or the overlapped. But if we use a smaller bandwidth, then we can send a large number of signals. That means if we want to send a large number of signals or more number of signals, then the bandwidth of the signal must be narrow or must be small. For that purpose, the higher frequencies for the communication are used. Now let's see our next term, signal to noise ratio. We know that noise is an unwanted electrical signal which may degrade the quality of the original signal. Hence, the noise is as less as possible. If the more number of noise is present in the original signal, then the quality of the signal is very low. Let's see the definition of this ratio. The signal to noise ratio is a number that indicates the relative strength of the signal and the noise. The signal to noise ratio is defined as the ratio of the signal power to the noise power at the same point. Here is a very simple definition of the signal to noise ratio given, that the signal to noise ratio is defined as the ratio of the signal power to the noise power at the same point. The mathematical expression gives here, signal to noise ratio means the xs upon xn, where is xs is signal power and xn is the noise power. Here now the excess further derived as v square s upon r, and xn is derived as v square n upon r. This rr gets cancelled and we get vs upon vn bracket square. Then the question arises here, how this term will get from excess. Let's see. We know that the power is the energy per unit time. Energy per unit time. In electronics, the power can be written as the voltage, the product between voltage, current, and time. This is the energy. Sorry, one correction here. The power equal to the energy is the product of voltage, current, and time, and this upon t is as it is. This tt gets cancelled, hence we get p is equal to vi. We know that the Ohm's law states that v is equal to IR. From this equation we can derive the value of I. What is the value of I? From this equation, I is equal to V upon, let's see, 1 minute. I is equal to V upon R. Hence, this P equal to, let put the value of the I in this equation. The value of the I is V upon R. That means V upon R here is V into V is equal to V square upon R. Hence, the power is the ratio of V square upon R. This is represented here. Okay, excess is the signal power, and we can also write it as v square vs square upon r. Similarly, xn is the noise power, and we can write it as v square n upon r. Here rr gets cancelled and we get vs upon vn bracket square, where vs is the signal voltage and vn is the noise voltage. That means if we get the values of the signal power and the noise power, then we can easily calculate the signal to noise ratio. Now the next term is the noise figure. The noise figure is the ratio of signal to noise power at the input to the signal to noise power at the output. Here is the noise figure is denoted by the word F. Hence the formula becomes F is equal to signal to noise at input upon signal to noise at output. The noise figure is also called as the noise factor. Noise figure is a number. Usually it is also expressed in decibels. Let's see our next term, bit rate, or sometimes it is also called as the data rate. Bit rate is defined as the number of bits transmitted or sent in 1 second. It is expressed in bits per second. Let's see once again. Bit rate is defined as the number of bits transmitted or sent in 1 second. The quantity of bits which are transmitted in 1 second is called as bit rate, and it expressed in bit per second or bps. The relation between bit rate and bit interval is as follows: bit rate is equal to 1 upon bit interval. Bit rate is also called as the signaling rate and is defined as the number of bits which can be transmitted in 1 second. If the bit duration is TB, then the bit rate will be 1 upon TB. The bit rate should be as high as possible. Now the next term is the baud rate. The baud rate, or we can also call it as the burs. Baud is the unit of signaling speed or the modulation rate or the rate of symbol transmission or the rate of level change. It indicates the rate at which the signal level changes over a given period of time. That means we can define the baud rate as the rate at which the signal level changes over a given period of time is called as baud rate. When the binary bits are transmitted as an electrical signal with two levels 0 and 1, the bit rate and the modulation rate or the baud rate are same. Now let's see the basic difference between the bit rate and the baud rate. What is mean by baud? It is very simple. How many times a signal changes per second, and bit rate is how many bits can be sent per time or usually per second. Bit rate is controlled by baud and the number of signal levels. Here is two waveforms are shown. In this waveform we can notice that there are only two values, that means 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0. That means there are only two levels, and we learned already that when the two levels of the signal are present, then the baud rate and bit rate both are same. Here is the baud rate, that means the number of signal level changes are 10, and the bit rates, that means there are 10 bits transmitted in 1 second. But in this type of waveform we can see here is the level 0 0. Now the level 1 1, the level 1 0, and the level 0 1. That means there are total 4 levels in that type of signal. Now our last definition is the channel capacity. The channel capacity is defined as the maximum data rates at which data can be transmitted over the channel reliably. The various other parameters related to the channel capacity are as follows: data rates, bandwidth, noise, and error rate. I hope you all understand the basic terms related with the communication. In this video, we were studied what is mean by bandwidth, what is mean by signal bandwidth, channel bandwidth, bit rate, baud rate, channel capacity, etc. Thank you, students.